Hello and welcome. This is Sean Newton, and today I'll be walking you through my mechanic, Toxic Tick. I'm not sure where the minimap is not functioning, but it would show up for the Toxic Tick clone right here. The functionality of the mechanic is literally to tick down your health via toxicity. And as you can see, there's a mask in there, and I'll explain that very shortly. The mechanical game vision here is that these toxic tick areas will be located in broken down factory areas in the toxic biome that I am developing now. It will add a bit of player obstacle as well as player choice. When the minimap is up and working, it will show that there's something in the center of each of these toxic things that will help the player or be rewarding for the player to try and traverse through it. As far as player agency goes, you have the choice to just try and push straight through the damage, which is possible to just push straight through the damage, grab a mask, and still be able to get out. That the mask size that it is currently is actually not accurate to what it will be in the game. It'll be small enough to actually look like it'll fit on the face of the current character. It's a gas mask, and that will be located in a shed on the actual map. But just to show how the actual fog works, the poison of it works, I decided to show it in this format. I'm going to do a quick reset. So if we go all the way to the right once again, back to the toxic mechanic, you'll see that the mask also does have development. You walk up to it and it'll grab it for you. And when you wear the mask, well, when you collect it, and it'll automatically equip it to the character, and you no longer take damage while going through the toxic area. But the player agency here, quite literally, is you're giving the player the choice to just try and power through it, and try and get whatever the item is and then get out. But now they have to survive with the health they have left from taking that damage. And then they still have other toxic areas they have to get through too. So if they're trying to juggle health to risk, make that risk, then it is up to them. The reward, so like the learnability would quite literally be knowing how much damage that zone will do comparatively to the risk of going in it without the mask. The reward, obviously, whatever's in the center of it. So it'll be a box specifically for upgrading or XP boosting the character in that area. There will also be toxic themed enemies that come from being exposed to this toxicity for so long. So that would play in both clarity and learnability, then reward and punishment. Feedback will literally just be the fact that you're taking damage as you're standing in these areas and kind of assessing the roundabout on how and when you actually take damage in this circle. And as far as the iteration and the variation, the not much change will be seen throughout the map as far as different variations of the fog. I'm trying to keep them quite simple just to kind of point out that this will damage you at this particular time. Iteration throughout a lot of the testing phase, I ran into a couple bugs. So one was the fact that you couldn't see through the smoke after we did a couple of adjustments recently. So I turned down the opacity so you can see through it again. And then also there was an error where you shoot into this that it would count the bullets as a thing that's taking damage, and just changing that node to, from the custom settings to only track the player pawn character. So the pawn still takes our current player character still takes damage, but the bullets don't, and that fixed that error. But I hope this was clear. Thank you guys for watching.
This is Steven. The mechanic that I did for Milestone 1 was an XP and leveling system for the player. The player kills enemies, they get a varied amount of XP, such as right there. The player gets 10 XP, and the player's level is also tracked in HUD. Elites will drop 15 to let the player get more. When the XP the player has reaches the cap, the player will get a level. The main work I did for Milestone 1 was also creating a stat system as well, which allows the player to, when they sprint, it'll actually adjust their stats. So it'll adjust, so they'll change, they'll increase their speed, and then it'll go back to the start. I also fixed a lot of bugs with some of the box collision now. Boxes break properly and the bullets don't shoot through walls. The mechanic was designed for players to be able to access the skill-based progression system, which is one of the key design pillars. When getting a new level, the player will be able to select a new skill, and will gain more stats, such as the speed, through the speed system. By having an XP system in the game, this allows the player to give more agency in how they want to play the game. When attached to the stat system, the player will gradually get stronger the more they level up. The way the players learn about it is through the XP bar, is for the XP system, and see with the player reach level 2, the XP bar reset. This is now the XP required for them to hit level 2, or level 3. So the reward for interacting with it is the player getting stronger, but the system isn't in yet in terms of the player's stats currently don't increase outside of the sprint. The only form of feedback for the player is the XP bar, but I'm also planning on adding an XP indicator, such as the damage indicator, how the players taking, or the enemies are taking 2 damage. I'm planning on including an XP system as well, or XP widget as well, so the player will know how much XP they got from the actual enemy that they killed.
Hello, my name is Highland Coleman, and I'm part of Team Project Space Pirate. For this week's milestone submission, I worked on creating a dashing mechanic. The dashing mechanic will be used in our game to help the players traverse around the map at a much quicker rate, as well as players will be able to take no damage when they are using the dashing mechanic. As you can see, we come over here to this little small practice area that I created. This practice area will be featured later on in the final version of the game. As you can see, it says press spacebar to dash. When the player presses spacebar, the character is dashing. When the character is dashing, they turn to a darker shade of gray, indicating that they are in a dashing state. As well as when they're dashing, players can no longer take damage. When the players get out of this first introductory section, they will be introduced to the practice area. This practice area, players will be tasked in getting around the spike trap, with using the dashing feature to avoid taking damage. As you can see, I did take damage here. The tricky part about this is players only have 1 second to be able to use the dashing ability to avoid taking damage. Afterwards, we have the master area. For the master area, players will have to also do the same thing as they did previously in the practice, but they will also have to shoot the enemy and kill the enemy to prevent them from dying. As well, just going through the same thing like we did previously, dashing, getting through here, and then collecting the health bar at the end. To help me achieve this dashing mechanic, I follow along with 6 core principles. First principle is game vision. Dashing will be used in this game to avoid taking damage from enemies, to traverse around the map quickly, and to attack enemies at a much further distance. Player agency. Players can use this ability to help in various combat situations. Clarity and learnability. There will be a test area where players will face the enemies to learn this mechanic. They will be required to use this dash to avoid taking damage and manage the use of the ability as there is a cooldown timer. Reward and punishment. Faster movement and players won't take damage will be the main rewards. If a player messes up their dash, there will be a cooldown period. Feedback. There will be a timer to show the dash is recharging, effects to show that the player is dashing, as well as animation. For iteration and variation, while players are dashing, they can damage the enemy, or the dash can have a stun or knockback effect. Thank you for watching.
A rotating puzzle along with a lever and a trap for this week's sprint. So the first thing that I will be showing off is the different levers and a key section of the puzzle before I go over the IPM. My mechanic aligns with our game vision because it directly correlates with the progression pillar, where a player can feel like they progress outside of just the normal gameplay loop. So first is a lever that doesn't require anything, has a lever. Second one requires a lever. Pick up the lever, put it down, pull it. And then on these ones, if the puzzle is not solved correctly, a trap will go off and damage the player twice. One going up, one going down. And then if you come over here, there is feedback for everything I'm doing, audio feedback, but I turned the master volume down so I could hear myself think, so I don't know if you can hear it. The next one is, again, a lever. If wrong, trap will come up. And this is just to showcase that there are different puzzles that you can do with the same solution, or I mean different solutions on the same puzzle. So now that this one is done, you can go ahead and pull it. And now that this one is wrong again, the traps will be reactivated. Now I'll go over some of the IPM. How I would introduce it is just a regular lever. And then the next one would be a lever that requires the handle. And then right here, it is to demonstrate the beginning of the actual puzzle. These lights on the side indicate what you need for the puzzle. So this side is green, and this side is red. When completed, the torches change color, letting you know that the door is active. Pull the lever, and now this one will be introducing the trap. Again, requires a handle. Without the handle, nothing happens. Select the handle, put the handle, pull it, trap goes off. Solve the puzzle. Door opens. And for my mastery, I have it where each puzzle can interact with another puzzle. So when I click this far one, it will change the other ones. So that one controls 2. This one controls the one to the right. Again, before activating it, a trap will go off. And when you finally solve the puzzle, the last door can be opened. And that would be my mastery, my introduction, and my practice. Some of the player agency was initially for them to unlock secret areas or just to like progress. Let me go over real quick, make sure I talked about everything. Design pillars, I tied to the progression. Player agency, if done correctly, opens the door. If done incorrectly, gets hurt. The puzzle can be required or just an alternate path. Clarity and learnability, I just ran through the IPM. Reward and punishment, if correct, open the door. If false, the trap. Feedback, there is audio feedback for every action, even just picking up the lever, placing the lever, pulling the lever, touching the puzzle, solving the puzzle. All has equal amount of feedback. And then iteration variation, I just went through my IPM again. So that is all I have to showcase. Thank you for looking.
Hello, my name is Najee Dyson, and I'm one of 2 level designers on Project Space Pirate. My team recently updated our build, so I'm going to go ahead and extract those files into a test folder, just for organization purposes. Once this finishes extracting, when I get into the game, you're going to be greeted with a main menu with different options. There's also going to be music playing in the background, and then I'm going to take you to the test level to show off the mechanics that I have done for this milestone. So here we are in the test level. So as you can see in the top left, I have a side missions widget where the player character can obtain different side mission objectives and complete them if they wish. And then of course I also created a teleporter that will take the player to different locations within a blink of an eye, essentially. To show off the side missions system, the player will come across some sort of trigger box that will have some sort of mesh on it that will indicate that it will give them new side objectives. So we see side objectives pending in the top left right here. Step into this collision box, and now we have a new side objective, which is enter the Torii Gate. So we have a Torii Gate right here that will take the player character to a different destination, like so. So the player character can obtain different side objectives by stepping in the collision box like so. And now we have a different side objective, which is enter the Swamp Gate, which is right here. And then, like I said before, the gates themselves will take you to a different location in the blink of an eye. Really quick, gets you into gameplay. It ties into one of our game design pillars for fast movement. We want everything to be quick and fast, so the teleportation is fast, and obtaining side objectives is also fast as well. So we get another side objective right here, enter the Toxic Gate, and now we are back at the start. So as I mentioned before, one of our game design pillars that I wanted to incorporate into my system was fast-paced movement. Everything is quick. The vision I have for these mechanics is so when the player needs to get to a different region or get to a different dungeon, they can use the teleporter to get to those places without having to traverse long distances. It's so to prevent a walking simulator from happening. We don't want the player to walk too much. We want them to engage in gameplay. And we want to give the player agency, player choice. So the player can choose to do the side objectives that we set for them. They don't have to do them. It's just additional gameplay that they want to engage in. They can go straight to the teleporter, go straight to the dungeon, or interact with other things and not do the side missions. But it's just there for them. Upon further iteration, we could give the player rewards for doing side objectives. We could, add more feedback, player feedback, where we have a particle system playing off of side objective or sounds playing off the side objectives to let them know that hey, you just got new objectives. We could do the same thing for the gates where we have like sounds, or we could create like a portal like effect here in the middle to give them more visuals, give them more sounds, give them more feedback. And there's really the only reward that the player can get from completing side missions. We can implement that. We can give them like more currency. We can give them a different some experience points, as you can see at the bottom left right here. A lot of these mechanics can tie into the mechanics that my other team members have created. And overall, that is my mechanic demonstration video. Thank you so much for watching.